This video is going to go through the review tests that you took at the end of last week. So I'm just going to go through ones that were commonly missed and try to point a couple things out to you all that should help you on the test on Friday. So this one, most people got right. He is quick like a fox. He uses the word like, and it is a simile. This one, the weather was smiling down upon us yesterday. It's personification. The majority of people still got it right. But here the weather is smiling. So if you see an object or a thing doing something that normally humans only do, like smiling, then it's going to be personification. Don't even consider the other ones. Jim waited to find out the news, but he already knew the answer. This is foreshadowing because it's giving us hints about what's going to happen later, that the news is already whatever Jim expected, probably something bad. However, on the actual test, you aren't going to be asked to identify examples of foreshadowing like this, so you won't have to worry too much about foreshadowing. It's a very minor part of the test. This is as frightening as a thunderstorm for a child. Sometimes this is harder for people, so a simile uses either like or as. So just like this, it uses as usually twice to compare how frightening it is for this person, or how frightening this event is being compared to a thunderstorm and how frightening that is for a child. But uses the word as. So since you see that, you should be looking at simile. This one, if it were a simile, it would say something like their hands were like ice or they felt like ice, but here it just says they were made of ice. It just says it like it's a statement of fact, it's how it is, so it's not using any of those comparison words. When that happens, it is a metaphor. Okay? A lot of people chose personification probably because the hands are a part of it, but the hands are not doing anything. They're not acting like a human in any way. They wanted it to be over. Oh, there's a typo on this one. But they knew it wasn't. Okay, once again, this is foreshadowing, but it's giving clues of what will come up next, but that's not something you need to worry about for the test. This one a lot of people missed. I'm not sure entirely why, but it says Chuck looked like a disaster. So this one again uses the word like to describe Chuck and compare Chuck to a disaster. Okay. For me, homework is misery. Again, you don't have to worry about foreshadowing, so this one threw people off maybe because they didn't think it fit anything else, but it is a metaphor. It's saying that homework is the same as misery, so it's comparing homework to the feeling of misery, and it just uses the word is there. It's not using as or like. The rain called out to me and kept me up all night. The rain is doing something that normally humans only do, so that's personification. And the message on my screen stared back at me. Again, the message is staring. That's normally something that only humans do, so it is personification. And once again, once you see that an object is doing something that normally humans only do, then you know it's personification. You don't have to consider the other two. So on the test, if that wasn't clear, you'll be choosing between simile, metaphor, and personification. Foreshadowing won't be an option. Okay, so for rhyme, you are going to be looking for either words that almost rhyme with each other. A lot of people pick that for this one. That's a slant rhyme. But on and upon are an exact rhyme, so that's not the same thing. Or you'll be looking for rhymes within a line. So remember that these slash marks represent the end of a line. So an internal rhyme would have two things rhyming within the same line. So we have snow and go in this one, rhyming with one another. Snow rhymes with go, so we would call that an internal rhyme. Okay, and it does have a rhyme at the end, so you would know that it's not free verse. Okay, if it was free verse, there would not be a rhyme at the end. Sometimes they treat me like a child, yet all I can do is smile. Now we have child and smile. Those almost rhyme with each other, so that is a slant rhyme. I feel down, unsure of what to do. I twist and wrench my hands for hours. Hours does not rhyme with do. There are no other rhymes in here. So we call that free verse. Reaching out, I feel about. So you might have heard that already. Out and about happens in the same line, so it's an internal rhyme. I cannot find a place to hold. No other rhymes. Rain falls down upon my head, smiles for a second, then leaves. Nothing in here that rhymes with each other, so this would be free verse. Rivers, roads, and railways, always on the chase. Okay, we have railways and we have chase. which are very similar to each other, but they aren't an exact rhyme. So they're a slant rhyme because they almost rhyme with each other. And then we get these ones. So this is one that I think is harder for a lot of people, but you will have to do this on the test, so you want to practice this. You're going to choose the letters that go along with the correct answer. So each time the end of a line does not rhyme with something before it, it gets a new letter. So we would start with A always. So A for apples because it's the first one. And then tree does not rhyme with that. So tree is given the letter B. Stone doesn't rhyme with anything before it. Stone, tree, apples, those are all different. So that gets the next letter, C. But then down came three. Three rhymes with tree, so that we get the next letter, or get the same letter as tree. So we get a B, which is why it's this one. The next one, there was an old woman lived under a hill, and if she's not gone, she lives there still. Here, woman again gets an A because it's the first one. Hill doesn't rhyme with woman, so it gets a B. Gone doesn't rhyme with either of the ones before it, it gets a C. And then still rhymes with hill, so it gets a B. As I was going up the stair, again it gets an A. I met a man who wasn't there, which rhymes with stair, so it gets the same letter, so it's A, A. He wasn't there again today, that doesn't rhyme with anything before it, so it gets a B. Oh, how I wish he'd go away. Away rhymes with today, so that one gets a B also, so it's A, A, B, B. Here lies a greedy girl, Jane Bevan, so that gets an A. Whose breakfast hardly ever stopped, doesn't rhyme with anything, so B. One morning at 11:30, that rhymes with the first one, so it gets an A also. She snapped and crackled and then popped. Popped rhymes with stopped, so it gets the same letter as it, which is B. A, B, A, B. All right. So for perspective, I lost my way hanging back from the library. A stranger stopped to help me, but I was still lost. Here you see the word I being used constantly, so this is going to be first person because it's being told from that person's perspective. Okay, it's a first-hand experience. John thought it was strange. Kira, on the other hand, thought everyone had lost their minds. Here we have it talking about other people now, John and Kira, and it tells what they're both thinking. So since it can talk about multiple people and what they're thinking, it's third person omniscient. It's not just limited to one person. He saw the box on the doorstep and instantly grew nervous. He figured Jack had left it there. Here, everything is told from this one person's perspective. He is just guessing that Jack left it there. We don't actually know what Jack is doing, so we're just following one person. So it would be third person limited because we're limited to just one person that we're seeing the story from. You wait a little while and leave, knowing that no one else is coming. That uses the word you. That's a signal to you right away that it's going to be second person. It's telling you what you are doing. My parents didn't come home until after midnight. This is talking just about that person's experience. So it uses the word my. So it's a little bit tricky because it doesn't use I anywhere in there. But it says my parents. So it's told from that person's perspective, who must be a character in the story. So this is the first person. Usually with first person you'll see the word I being used, or me. But the word my does also mean that you're talking about your own experiences. Our tests are tomorrow, so we're all feeling nervous. So this one again uses our, to mean that they're talking about their own experiences. We're also signals that they're talking about their own experiences, so that's also first person. Tara and Sean are Luke's best friends. Luke has not wanted to hang out with them lately, though. Here we have Tara and Sean being Luke's best friends, but Luke would know that, so this isn't telling like what Tara and Sean are thinking. And Luke has not wanted to hang out with them lately. We're really just following Luke, so it's limited to one person. It's third person limited. The next one says Jim looks away. He doesn't want to think about it. Back at home, his sister is packing up her stuff. She hopes Jim gets there soon. So here we have Jim first that we're following. And then we go to a very different scene where his sister is packing up her stuff. This isn't anything Jim would be able to see. So we're switching to a different character here. And that's why it's called third person omniscient. Last one, Harry looks at Ron and smiles. This is going to be a good year. This is just following Harry. He sees somebody else, but it's something that Harry would be able to see. It's not cutting away to another person somewhere else. It's not talking about anybody else's thoughts. This is just following Harry. Okay, so we would call that third person limited because it's limited to just one person that we're following. Okay, if you still have any questions on any of these, please let me know. But those are the results of your first practice quiz.